Okay, welcome back, everybody who's been with me for a while. This is Michelle. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are going to continue on to our study guide for the PSI Real Estate Salesperson License Exam. And we are in Section 5, Validation and Market Analysis. This is not necessarily in Maryland. This is everywhere. If it pertains to specifically in Maryland, I will let you know. But most of the time, it's all over the United States. There's 3 approaches to value, and we are on lesson 3, the income approach. If you need any of these other lessons, go back and review them. Okay, income approaches to appraising property. We're still on appraisals. All right, let's focus on the income approach, some of its common terms and formulas. Okay, let's say you're helping a client invest in commercial property. Your client says, I'm looking for a cap rate of at least 10%. So find me a property that's valued in that range. So maybe this is why we need to learn this, right? I keep asking, why are we learning this? We're not going for an appraiser, right? So this would be good. I do think you have to have a specific license, though, if you're going for commercial property. If somebody wants to do commercial property, then they need to go see a commercial real estate agent, which is a whole different ball game, and it's definitely more complicated. But anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit trail right now. I'm not sure why we got a commercial client, but anyway, I'm going to move on. Income capitalization approach to appraising in real estate is going to help you and your client determine if a property might meet the desired rate of return. The income approach, known as the income capitalization approach, estimates the present value of any future rights or benefits. It's based on the value principle of anticipation. So if you're looking to become a commercial real estate agent, this is a lot of the stuff that you're going to be doing, by the way. I don't know about a salesperson because this looks like a lot of math. And so if that's your thing, you might want to consider becoming a commercial real estate agent, by the way. I didn't see any super complicated math like this on the real estate salesperson license, because I have taken it before in Virginia and Maryland both, and I just let my license slip in Maryland. That's why we're taking this again, so I can get it back again. But anyway, let's get back to our purpose here. There are a few different techniques that fall under the umbrella of the income approach. But they're all similar, and they use data from the income, the property, and then apply some to the adjustment to translate future cash flows to a current property value. All right, we got our gross rent multiplier, GRM, that relates to the sales price to the property's expected rental income. Okay, so this makes sense. Okay, I do like to do investments, and you might get a buyer or seller that's an investor. So this would be probably good to know, okay? If you're going to help them determine whether a property is a good investment or not, this is a good formula to use. And I am also an investor, so I've never really used this, but I kind of use the same thing, but it looks simpler than the way they're explaining it here. So in this formula, you want to obtain the sales price and the gross income rent. So how much rent is this person going to make off of this property? Let's say they have 4 units and it's a multifamily or multi-purpose, like a fourplex. They got 4 units in one place. This might be something that I would buy too, by the way. So you got to take your how much the sales price is, and then take how much rent are you going to make off of all 4 of these properties. Okay? So you also need to put away stuff like operating costs, how much it's going to cost to, you need to put away some money to fix things, because things are going to break as you go along, and you're going to need money for that. So this is just giving an example of what all that is. Now we have the income and the rent multiplier. The income multiplier is the same as the GRM, but it uses all the sources of income rather than only one rent. So let's say, for instance, you can apply the multiplier to the subject's income to determine value. So such as, does it have a laundromat, a vending machine, parking meters? Now, if it's on more commercial property, it might be more on commercial property. You might have all that. If it's 4 units or more, larger income properties, it might have all that stuff on it. Now, for multi-family or triplexes, they usually don't have all of those laundry and vending machines and parking meters and things. They just share a lot of spots for parking. All right, you have a direct capitalization that calculates a net operating income. You're not going to get a lot of these kinds of questions from an investor because most investors are going to be able to figure it out on their own, or they're going to have somebody that's going to help them go through this and figure out if it's a good investment. You as a real estate salesperson are not going to have to sit and do this for them. Very highly likely. They're already going to kind of know what they want, and they're going to know why they want it because they're going to look it over. They just probably want you to show it. They probably want you to open up the door and show them the property so they can make their final decision. But a good investor is already going to have all this figured out ahead of time. They're going to know what their gross income is going to be. They're going to know all these formulas and have it figured out if it's worth the price or not. All right, yield capitalization. The method similar to direct capitalization with projects further into 1 year considers the potential value of the property. Think of this as a total return on investment at an annual rate. If anybody wants a copy of this resource, be sure to contact me on my website and let me know that you want the income approach to appraising properties resource, and I can email this to you. Because this has a lot of information on it. I just don't think we need to memorize all of this. All right, each appraisal approach relies on something different to determine value. What does the income approach analyze? Now, this could be something like a similar property, but some of these major math quotients and formulas, don't let it intimidate you because, this is pretty in-depth. And I could definitely see this being on a commercial real estate exam. If you're going for your commercial real estate test, this is the kind of questions you will have these on there because it's pretty intense from what I understand. All right, what does it analyze? It estimates the present value of any future rights. I don't know. Let's try this one, see if it's right. You got it. Income the property could generate. Okay. Income approach measure. So this would be for investors. That's how you're going to remember that. Okay, recognizing income approaches. The current value of any income can be determined by using estimates of future income. Well, I'm not too sure about that. GIM is appropriate for finding the value of a single family home purchased as a rental property. Maybe. A cap rate is a factor that shows the income a property produces in relation to a cap rate. Let's go back up here and see what the cap rate is. Cap rate. Here it is. Applies a capitalization rate, the income to derive a market value for the property. I want to say yes. Capitalization methods of the income use gross income rather than net income. Rather than net income. Oh no. Okay, so these two. The current value of income, the current value of an income property can be determined by using estimates of future income. Is true. GIM is no, it does not help you. Alright, so let's try it again. And you can take a screenshot. I will hold it here for a minute and let you take a screenshot if you need to. This is a little challenging, that's for sure. For me, anyway. I do not have these answers memorized, as you can tell. I'm taking this along with you. Okay. Hopefully there won't be a lot of questions like this on the test. Oh, good Lord, we still got more. Okay, let's go. All right. Let's see. Divide the sales price of a comparable by the rental income. I want to say it's the GRM. Sales price of a comparable property. Arrive at the property value. I want to say it's GRM on that. Gross rent. What's the next one? Divide the sales price of a comparable by the annual gross GIM. Calculate the net operating income. Direct capitalization. I would never be able to do this without my little notes over here. All right, calculate the projected net operating income for a property over the next year. Then apply a capitalization rate. Apply an expected rate of return to income from the entire holding period to find the current property value. These are the 4 methods of income capitalization that you will encounter when reviewing appraisals. You know, that's what I'm confused on. I'm like, we're not going to be reviewing appraisals. The bank does that. So I don't really understand why this is on here. But anyway, good to know, right? Now you might use some of this stuff if you're helping an investor, like I just said. But otherwise, I don't see where we're going to be using this. All right, your client is purchasing a duplex and plans to live in one. Now, see, this would happen quite often. I mean, I would actually be one of these people that bought this kind of property, so I could see this happening. All right, I think it's that. Laundry and the income. Income has got the laundry and all that stuff. Your client is considering a 3-unit residential income. That might be the multiplier. Gross rent multiplier. 3 incomes. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're just the gross rent multiplier. That one I'm not sure. All right, let's see what we got. All right, how about that? I got it all right. I have no clue how. Okay. Anyway, if you need a screenshot, here you go. All right. If you're considering investing in a 3-unit residential income property, it would be the gross rent multiplier. And like I said, you may get clients, investors that want doing this. And personally, I'm one of these investors that would do that. However, I would do my homework. I wouldn't go up to a real estate salesperson and ask them to sit and calculate this for me, because I don't really feel like that's their job. Your client wants a value estimate for a 15 apartment building. Gross income multiplier would be for that, okay? So this one is a residential, and I guess if it's not residential, if it's like an apartment, it would be the income multiplier, and if it's a residential, it would be the rent. I guess that's the difference here, because the apartment building here is income. This one is purchasing a duplex, which is residential, is a rent multiplier. So that could be how you remember that, okay? Because this gets kind of confusing. So if it's more like a residential area, it's a gross rent multiplier, GRM. So you could do residential for rent, which they both got R's in them. If it's like a apartment building or something like that, it's the income multiplier. Okay, so that could be on the way you remember it. All right, final thoughts. I already gave my final thoughts on this. Okay, several times. The income approach to appraisal usually involves several variables that the appraiser will decide to include or exclude based on the purpose of the appraisal and type of property. It can be a complex process, okay? That's one reason it requires an appraiser with an advanced education. For the real estate professional, let's get to that, okay, because that's what we're studying. The appraisal report on a commercial property can get pretty dense, and I'm not really sure we're going to get a lot of that on a commercial property, because a commercial real estate agent will probably get that. At least in my experience, they would send that right over to the commercial real estate agents. You would not be handling anything on a commercial property. But anyway, savvy investor clients will know how to read and determine if the investment property meets their needs. That's what I've been saying the whole time. They'll expect the real estate agent to be able to advise them based on information in the report. So that's what your job as a real estate salesperson is going to be. You are going to have to pull it up and pull up the facts that's going to help them with their decision making. Okay, if you're interested in work with an investment property, this is one area where you'll have to develop an experienced eye. And that's true. And it will take practice, by the way. All right, so if you're with me, if you're staying with me in this little adventure thing we got going on here, we're going to have 10 questions on the unit exam on all of this stuff we just talked about in the last few videos. Sales comparison, cost approach, income approach. Okay? All 3 of those. And here's all the resources. So, you know how to contact me. If you need any of those, be specific as to which one you need. Because I'm not going to be emailing 100 different resources, okay? All right, I appreciate you all watching, and I know these things are quite boring, but hopefully it will help you on your exam.